In our last video, we talked about the fact that wanting to help people out is a good thing, but sometimes the way we offer to help or when we offer to help can actually push people away instead of drawing them into deeper connection. And what I found is over the years, after I've shared this material, people will come up to me weeks later and say, Greg, I really get it. I understand now why when my wife is sharing a struggle and I start to fix the problem for her, I can see her shutting down and I know why it's happening now, but I can't stop doing it. Or someone will say, you know, I know when my kids are talking about something that's really excited and I give them advice, I can see them kind of pulling away or getting disappointed, but I can't stop doing it. Now, chances are, even if you don't have that struggle, you may be in a relationship with someone who does. So I thought it would be good to take some time and figure out why that's going on. Hi everybody, I'm Greg from Heart Tools, where we make it simple to build great relationships. And if you find yourself in this situation where you really have a hard time not fixing people or not giving advice, here's what I want you to do. The next time you're in that situation where you really want to help someone fix their problem, you really want to give advice, even though it might not be wanted, what I want you to do is pay attention to what else is going on inside of you. For example, one of the things that may be going on inside of you is you're experiencing a lot of fear, right? Someone is sharing about a purchase that they want to make, or maybe a new relationship they want to take to a deeper level, or a career change they want to make, or any number of things. And what's going on in your mind is all the things that could go wrong, right? And so you want to try to give some advice to head off all of the things that could go wrong. Another thing that might be happening inside of you is you feel some sort of guilt or shame. For example, if you are talking with an adult child, you know, one of your children who's grown up, one of the things that might be happening as they're sharing a struggle is you're thinking to myself, they wouldn't be having this struggle if I had been a better parent when they were young. I know I didn't do a great job as a parent. I know I was inadequate. If only I had done a better job, they wouldn't have the struggle. This is my fault. I have to make up for this somehow, right? Or another thing that might happen is as someone is sharing, you start feeling a lot of pressure that you have to have the solution, because your role in the relationship is to be helpful. And if you're not helpful, the rule in your mind is, if you're not helpful, you're not lovable. So if you can't come up with a solution, then the relationship is at risk. Now you may notice what these three examples, and by the way, I've just given 3 examples here. We could give dozens and dozens of more examples. And so you'll have to take some time and pay attention. What's going on inside of me when I have this urge or this need to fix or give advice? But what these 3 examples and others have in common is they are all about you. They are not about the person you're listening to, right? And so if I'm catastrophizing when someone is speaking, that's all about me. That has nothing to do with them. If I feel like I was an inadequate father and I failed as a father, that's about me in the moment. That's not about my kids, right? Or if I have this, this belief that if I'm not helpful, I'm not lovable, that's all about me and not about the person. And so when we share in this way, the motive of sharing is really not to be helpful to the other person. The motive of sharing is to fix my problem, right? And so if I'm catastrophizing and I have all these things in my mind that could go wrong and they're all horrible and painful, my need to speak out there is not to be helpful to that other person. It's a way of trying to cope with my own fear. If I'm giving advice to my adult children, that's not really about them in the moment. That's me trying to make up for something that I failed at in the past, right? By putting them back in that child role. That's not about them. That's not trying to be helpful to them. That's me trying to fix a problem that I created in the past. Or if I'm offering solutions because I believe deep inside me that if I don't solve every problem that comes my way, I have no value in this relationship. And so my offering that is to protect myself. It's not really about helping the other person. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying this to be judgmental, because we have those kind of struggles in our mind. And if you have those problems, they're real problems. But if you want to love others well and listen well, it's really important to recognize that they are your problems and not someone else's problems. So here's what I would like for you to practice. A simple step that you can practice that will help you in those moments. When someone is sharing and this desire to help, this like compulsive need actually to help or give advice pops up inside of you, I want you to do this simple thing. Recognize it, acknowledge it, don't deny it or push it down, just acknowledge it, and then set it aside, right? And so someone is sharing about this new relationship, and all you're thinking about is all the things that can go wrong, all the mistakes that they can make, all the ways that they can be hurt. And you just acknowledge to yourself, you know what? I'm catastrophizing again. That makes sense, because that's what I do, but that's about me. I'm going to set that aside and not let that dominate this conversation. I'm just going to stay present and listen to this person and make this about them. Or, you know, you have this need to make up for some failure you feel as a parent, and it pops up, and just say, yeah, that's my sense of failure popping up again. That makes sense. That's a real struggle that I have, but that's my problem. I'm going to acknowledge it, and I'm going to set it aside. I may talk about that to someone else later, but I'm not, right now, what I want to do is just stay present and stay connected to my amazing son or my amazing daughter, right? So just acknowledge what's going on inside of you. Be aware that it's your problem, own it, and then just set it aside, right? And don't let that get in the way of just being fully present and listening to the person that you're with. Now, for some of you listening, this may be enough, right? Just being aware of it and acknowledging it and setting aside, that's going to be enough of a step to help you stop fixing. For some of you out there, that might not be enough. And if that's the case, you may need to get some extra help. You may need to talk to a counselor or talk to a therapist and just ask, why is this need to fix so intense that I actually can't stop doing it? I know it's hurting relationships, it's pushing people away, but I can't stop doing it. Help me fix it. And if that's the case, I want to encourage you that that's work you can do really quickly, right? You can get with a good therapist, a good counselor, talk about that issue, and come to some more self-awareness that will be very helpful to you fairly quickly, so that in those moments that come up, you can actually be aware that your problem is surfacing, set it aside, and stay fully present and do a good job of loving well and listening well to the people that you're close to. So in the coming weeks, practice this. Practice as you're listening and that need to fix pops up. Practice acknowledging it and owning it, and then setting aside so you can listen to the people that you're close to and see what a difference that makes in creating life-giving, enjoyable, deeper relationships with the people that you love. Simple steps. Practice, practice, practice. That's what Heart Tools is all about.